Alrighty, YouTube. What is up, everybody? It is Max. And this was a pretty highly sought after video. Big request that I get for a lot of my videos. Just a lot of people asking me to do this a lot. So we're gonna finally get to it. Sorry, I've been kind of slacking on the more focused videos like guides and whatnot. I've just been doing gameplay videos, but you know, we'll get into it soon. I do plan on doing like a how to ADC guide and whatnot and all that fun stuff. So today we're going to be going over the new meta builds for the new patch. Today is the 26th, so hopefully I'll have this video up by the 27th. Maybe even the 26th at night. We'll see what happens, but yeah, let's get right into it. So we're going to go over a couple of builds, maybe even go into the mage builds. Will depends on the time that we have left. I don't want to make too long of a video, just short and sweet. Like, what do you build? When do you build it? Why do you build it? Yada, yada, yada. So we are going to go to the Hunter tab. Going to go to Rama, because he's probably the most standard slash most played slash sought after ADC right now. He's just very consistent, does a lot of great work. So as usual, we are going to be starting with the Hunter's Blessing. That has not changed. And then for the most part, we were always going to go the Spike Gauntlet. A lot of people ask me, when do you go trans? When do you go devs? When do you go trans? When do you go devs? When do you go pen? When do you go crit? So we're going to explain all of that today. So on auto attack hunters, primarily hunters that only use their auto attacks to really do work in team fights, such as Apollo, Artemis, Rama, Cernanos, you know, gods like that, who really only have their auto attacks plus some other damage, but they most rely on hitting their AAs to really do work in team fights. You are going to want to opt for Devos. And gods that you are doing a lot of ability damage with, consistently casting your abilities, such as AMC, Scotty, Uller, Neath, you know, gods that need more mana. You can even put Expo in that category because he obviously needs mana for his one. Chiron, because he has 4 damaging abilities. You know, gods that use a lot more mana and a lot more reliant on that power to really do work in team fights, you want to opt for Trans. So Devos for auto attackers, trans for ability based hunters, slash hunters that need mana, like X-Ball is the exception here. So let's go into the Devos builds first. We're going to go over 2 builds and what you could fill on those builds for late game. Like I said, for Rom, you are going to go the Hunter's Blessing, and this applies to all the auto attack hunters, and I will group them up later. You're going to go Hunter's Blessing, Spike Gauntlet, and typically you're going to go some combination of healing and multi-pots. The amount depends on the lane that you're playing against. If you're going to be a really aggressive lane, you feel like you're going to be boxing a lot, I opt for 3 health pots and 1 multi. If you think, well, we're going to just clear and we're not going to really fight each other, I go for 2 health, 1 multi. Sometimes you might go for 2-2. Maybe you're going to need a little bit more mana in the lane. Maybe you're not going to get totems or something like that. You can go for 2 so you get a little more mana sustain. But it truly does depend. Typically going 2-2 or 3-1 will never fail you. Even if you have leftover healing pots for after the lane, it's not going to be too big an issue. After this, you are going to have the choice of either finishing your Devourer's Gauntlets typically or rushing straight into the boots. I almost always finish Devourer's Gauntlets. I feel like they're just much stronger than boots. The power spike immediately is definitely worse than going for the boots. You're going to have a little period of time where you will be weaker than somebody who's rushed the Ninja Tabai, but the purpose is not to be immediately stronger, but to scale into the mid game with the Devos, sticking them up as soon as possible. So I almost always finish these devs if I can stay for them. The finishing price is 1700, so if you can finish them, do so. Then you're going to go into your boots choice. I almost always go Ninja Tabai. I haven't really been building Warrior Tabai on anybody. I just feel like the attack speed makes the fluidness of playing a hunter much more apparent to me. They just feel a lot easier to play. From here on out is where things can change up for a lot of players and a lot of gods. We'll go over the pen build first, and then we'll go into the crit portion of things. Typically speaking, in recent events, a lot of people have been doing this build. It is just the standard pen build, kind of like the old unicorn build way back in the day. Kins for the health shred, Atalantis for the percent pen slash the branch item. This build right here with these 4 items really fits well together. You do a lot of damage, a lot of sustained DPS. You get to cap attack speed on your 5th item. You just feel really hard to dive, and you're feeling good. The only thing that really depends here is the order of these 2 items and when they're bought. Some people, for instance, Cyclone Spin really opts to get the Atalantis Bow 3rd. It's a little bit cheaper. It's a better power spike for the gold. Whereas I prefer to get the Kin size 3rd. I just feel it fits the mid fight, mid game team fights a lot more well, I guess is a word I'm looking for. Hitting, you know, tanky solo laners slash junglers who build sledge with the third item kins feels really, really good. So this is more up to you. You know, test out both. Start with the bow, start with the kins. Feel whatever's better. Maybe you like kins first. Maybe you like Atalanta's first. The only time I think it's objectively better to go kins first is when they have a Cthulhu on their team, because he's a really hard diver, and you kind of negate most of what he wants to do if you just have this item online. So, yeah, do as you see fit. If they're less tanky, you can go for the Atalantas. If you're against a really heavy dive comp with a lot of health that has like Sledge Jungler, you know, Thebes something, support, Stone of Gaia solo laner, this item will be very, very efficient and do tons and tons of work for you. So, yeah. On to the next items. These two items you can build wherever you want. It depends on the comps, but yeah, you'll feel good building either. So after this, we have a quite a few items that we do choose to build in this lane. It really is dependent on the scenario, slash what you need, slash what you lack, slash what you want. These are the 4 items that I usually build. I go Atalanta's into the Silver Branch. If you're an auto attack character that has an auto attack stim, I go Silver Branch 5th. If not, I go Oboe 5th. Typically speaking, these 2 items are pretty crucial in a build like this just because they synergize so well. The Silver Branch gives you the extra power, it scales with the Oboe. The Oboe does work in team fights. So this is pretty much your 6 items right here. You want all 6 of these items pretty much every single game if you're going to be opting for this route. The 7th item, or the item that fills in for your boots, is a question mark. It depends on the comp. Sometimes you really need a Toxic Blade for their anti-heal or for their healing. Sometimes you want an Ichable because you're getting dove hard. Sometimes you might even want a Hide or a Mantle or a Midgardian or a Magi's, right? Something that'll help you survive. So that really is dependent on what you're against, what you really need, and things like that. So that's up to you to decide. In one of my SPL games, I bet a Shogun's Kasaria because they had 3 Guardian Divers, and I felt like getting magical defense online would just be the only way they ever be the best way for us to win, because the only way we lose is if I died. So in one of those games, I went to Shogun's. Many games I find myself finishing the build with Ichable because it gives a bunch of power, reduces the attack speed of the people diving you, synergizes extra well with the Oboe because obviously another 45 power just adds to the Oboe, procs adds to your Silver Branch damage and whatnot. So yeah, really dependent on the comp. I find myself building Hide quite often if I'm against a Mercury or a Nemesis, 2 guys that I've seen a lot of play, or even a Baka. Do keep in mind this item will be changed soon, so it's probably not going to be as worthy to pick up, but right now with the 2 stacks as opposed to the 1 or whatever the hell they're changing it to, this is a very, 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 very nice item to buy in the late game when you're getting dove by auto attackers. But yeah, this is pretty much the standard Kins, Pen, whatever you want to call it build that I've been building on almost all my auto attackers. It feels really hard to dive. You can get one of these defense items, makes you even more hard to dive. You feel really good. Your damage output is always quite insane. So yeah, this is the Pen build. Like I said, sometimes you need Toxic, sometimes you need Ichable, sometimes you need these items. It just depends. But these 4 items are core, plus the Silver Branch really ties the build together. And then the Oboe, the rest of the items you can interchange with one another. And yeah. Go ahead and save that. As for the crit side of things, you are going to opt for the same start, the Devourer's Gauntlets into, the Devourer's T1 with the pots, same thing, yada yada yada. Depending on what you're going to lane against and what you are laning, more pots, less pots, depends, right? Like I said in the last character. From here, I do finish the Devourers usually. Like I said, it just feels like a better team item spike into the mid-game team fights. And then here, once again, we have that little question mark of what should I go first if I'm going crit, Atalanta's or Rage. Typically speaking, if you're ahead and can afford the Rage, I like to go the Rage first because it's a stacking item. The faster you can get it stacked up, the more effective it'll be in the mid game. But if sometimes you're behind or you're against a seemingly tanky comp and you're like, dang, I really would like to pen this 3rd item, then Atalanta's build will come before the Rage. But like I said, it really just depends on what's happening in the game, how far ahead you are, what's their dive, are they really do they have a lot of physical protections? Because obviously crit gets mitigated by Fizz Prot. Are they squishy? Will the crit save me more than the pen? Yada yada yada. So that'll be something that you have to find out. I typically go Rage, then Atalanta's. If they're squishies, I go Rage first. If they're tanky, I go Atalanta's first. Just play with it. You'll figure it out on your own. From here on out, we almost always just go the Wind Demon 5th item. It's such a nice branch item from these items. The 10% pen, the attack speed, the movement speed, the crit chance, everything this item gives is just, it's a lot of quality of life buffs for an ADC. And it's just a great item. Honestly, if you don't build it, you're kind of trolling. From here, we typically go the Poison Star. It is a very, very nice item for dealing with heavy dive. Just very efficient item, reduces percent damage, which is such a big thing. And then typically you can either go into the Shadow Steel Shuriken or the Fail Not, depending on what character you are. Depending on how efficiently you use Fail Not, you can opt for either of these. Shadow Steel Shuriken was buffed, so it's not as bad as it was before. Before it was kind of a never buy this item when you're trolling. Now it's a little bit better. If you need the pen, obviously Fail Not will give you that last 10% pen, the 40%. So if you feel like, dang, these guys are really tanky, opt for the Fail Not. I think it'll be better in the long run. On top of that, it's got a lot of nice stats on it. Cooldown, crit chance, pen, power, plus the passive. A lot of writing in this item. We call these a scroll item when it's just got so much text. It's just an OP item, right? Defensively, we see the same options as before. Sometimes you're going to need a hide. This is pre-nerf hide. Sometimes you're going to need a Shogun's, a Magi's, a Mantle. It depends on what's diving you, what are you up against, what's killing you, things like that. If you don't go Fail Not, sometimes you might need a Void Shield. There's some along the lines of. So, these are both of the Devourer's Gauntlets build. It's either the pen or the crit builds. I don't go pen much right now because people are going so much health in comps that the crits just kind of get drowned out by the mass HP that enemies have. Obviously, it's going to feel better into diving if you have crit, and they are squishies like Mercuries and Nems like that. They're obviously going to get shredded, but overall, pen has just been much more efficient and proven to be the better build as of right now. But that does not mean that you can't build crit and you shouldn't build crit or things like that. In fact, if you're a low-level player watching this, you should probably build crit over cren, or excuse me, crit over pen. It'll do way more work in the lower level games. People don't know how to dive against crit. You just one-shot everything, and it's easier to burst objectives and whatnot. So yeah, these are the two Devourer's Gauntlets build for our auto attackers. Go ahead and save that. I'll leave it up on the screen for a second if somebody wants to look at it. Then we are going to delve into our trans builds, the gods that use Transendence and what kind of builds you can find out those gods. We'll use Uller as our primary test subject because this god sees a lot of play and is just predominantly the most OP god of trans, right? He spams a lot. He's got a big mana pool, helps his kit really succeed. So here starts the question of when do I go trans 2? When do I go Hunter's Blessing 1? What should I do? Teach me, right? So typically speaking, if you're going to go into an auto attack build, which I will demonstrate soon, you want the Hunter's Blessing. It's a good item to start. It's a good branching item. The attack speed will only help you if you are using the attack speed build. Whereas if you're going to be rushing into the maces and you're looking just for raw power and one-shot potential, you don't need this item. It only sets you behind from your trans power spike. And it doesn't really help you really one-shot anybody. It's nice for mana, but with the trans build, you can rush more pots. And typically, if you rush trans, I'll go mana pots because you actually do waste a lot more mana and you don't have the MP5. But if you go Hunter's Blessing, you can get the multi-pots. Like I said before, it just depends how the lane's going to go. More pots, less pots, really depend on what you're against. So, I'll show the two builds. Maybe I'll show a different one on another character, but for Uller, I usually do rush the trans 2 because I just think it's better for this god, especially in rank. Just being able to one-shot squishies with like a long-range 3 or an axe combo just feels really important to me. So usually we start the trans 2, we finish off the trans on the first back. That is the goal. Don't buy boots 2, don't buy boots 1 until you're done with the trans. Even if you back on 1200, buy a pop, buy a ward, and go back to land the trans 2. It's not going to feel great, but trust me, building boots will feel worse. From here, we do opt into our boots. Now, this is one of the more, what's the word here? Flexible options. Ninja Tabi versus Warrior Tabi, both are fine. Both do well because now they both have mana on them, so they do synergize with that Transcendence. But this really is a feel item. I almost always go Ninja Tabi. I just don't think Warrior Tabi is worth it. The 25% attack speed is very nice to me. But feel free to go Warrior Tabi. If you like it more, go for it. From here, specifically on Uller, I usually try to get a Jones Wrath just because it synergizes well with his passive and his kit. You get it to be really spammy, really obnoxious. And then typically after the Jones, we'll opt into a Brawlers because just so much sustain right now in this meta. If you don't need the Brawlers on the off chance they don't have much sustain, you can go into a Crusher. These are usually the 4 or 5 core items that I find myself building. From here, you usually go a Heart Seeker, into like an Atlantis bow or an Atlantis bow into a Heartseeker. Some people like Soul Eater, some people like Fail Not. For instance, Cyclone was going the, you would go Trans Boots, Crusher, Fail Not, replacing the Jones Wrath because they're both 20% CDR. But I don't really like the synergy between Ullr's Kit and Fail Not, so I'll find myself going Jones more often than not. Usually last item is a real like toss-up item. I really don't know what I ever wanted this item. Sometimes it feels like weird. Maybe I should have gone an early Soul Eater, but for the most part, Blood Forge or an Oboe will almost always do you what you want. Sometimes a Void Shield or a Berserker Shield to help you cap on pen. Maybe a Glad Shield or one of these shields to really help with the dive. Oboe is going to do a lot of work because you have so much base power. Like I said, you can go Hydras if you want. This is really up to you. The world is kind of your oyster. The defensive options are the same as the other gods. You want Magi's, maybe Discord, freaking, I don't know. There's so many filler items that you can go that are just like comp / scenario dependent. So, you know, look at what you're against, see what you need. Sometimes you might need a Midgard, sometimes you might need a Mantle, sometimes you might need a Magi, sometimes you might need more power, sometimes you might want a crit item. I don't know. It depends. So this is usually what I refer to as the Power 1 build on my stream, or the Maces build, where you're just pretty much going all the Maces and then a Heartseeker to cap it off, and then Atlantis to cap the pen. Well, it's 30% pen, not 40% pen. So yeah, I like this build a lot on gods like Ullr, gods like Neith, where a lot of your damage on backliners isn't really that hard to guarantee. So these are really like mini mage abilities hitting you. I've hit mages for like 600-700 Fire Giant, Red Buff, Ullr, you know, on Phoenix Sieges, and it just feels like a whole rocket's hitting you. So try this build out. You know, let me know what you like. If you don't like it, let me know. This is the Maces build. And then we have the auto attack variant of this build, which some people usually find themselves going on gods like Medusa, gods that synergize well with that Transcendence because they have a lot of scaling / burst, but they want to be auto attacking. This is when we do goes Hunter's Blessing. It'll help synergize with the auto attacks, like I said before. So we'll start with the Morning Star, the Hunter's Blessing tier 1, some pots. With Hunter's Blessing, you should go multi-pots. The extra health will help you. This typically is enough mana sustain. From here, we do go into our boots as per usual. I like to go Ninja Tabby. Here, you go Aussie because sustain is very key with a build like this where you're auto attacking a lot. And then from here, where you would usually go the Executioner, you know, a split it go, we go the Atlantis bow, typically into Kins. This build's great, does a lot of damage, has good sustain, really bursty, really hard to dive because you kind of 4-shot people. And it's got Kins, and Kins is kind of a core item in this build because, like I said, people are abusing Sledge, Stone, and whatnot, so yeah. From there, you would typically find yourself going, you can go a Silver Branch, you can go an Oboe. Depends on the character that you're on. For instance, if you're a Cupid, you might want to go Silver Branch because you have so much base attack speed. Maybe even Medusa with her ones, you can go for the Silver Branch. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, one of these 2 items for your last item. This might be better for the pen. This might be better if you don't really have an attack speed stim for like maybe like Neith or something, even though Neith does have one now, but it's not very consistent. This is pretty much just the old Transendence pen build with like Aussie Xe Kins. It does a good bit of damage. It's a nice build for hunters like Medusa. Hunters like maybe Cupid if you want to go trans on him. X-Ball you can go this build on. And then there is another variant with crit. I don't love going the crit variant. I feel like you're getting your crits so late that it just feels a little awkward. But instead of the kin size, you do go Rage. So you go Trans Aussie Rage, or Trans Boots Aussie Atalanta's Rage, sorry. And then you probably just get like a Wind Demon. This will help you with the pen. Then you'll be at 30% again. You'll be hitting pretty hard with this build, but I don't know. I don't like it. The Rage comes online too late. The crit comes online too late. You really need these 4 items by themselves before you can opt to go to Rage or the Silver Wrench or anything. These are kind of core. So yeah, there's the pen build. There's the crit build. Defensive items are the same thing as before. So that was the auto attack build. I probably should have left it up on the screen for a second, but my bad. Like I said, I usually go that build on... You can do it on Neith, Medusa, X-Ball. You can go it on Chiron if you want to be auto-attacking more. You can do it on Cupid. You can do it on Heim. Heim's a big person that likes a lot of Transcendence power with his passive and whatnot, so I do find myself going that auto-attack build quite often with Heim. You can do it on AMC if you'd like, especially with Silver Branch as 1. Great synergy. So yeah, those are the 4 core builds for physical ADCs. We will run over the magical ADCs real quick as well because they are quite popular right now with all the item changes. The only 3-4 ADCs that I'm going to go over are Freya, Oleron, Sol, and Kronos, and the builds kind of remain the same for most of these gods. Starting with Freya, you want to go Hecate, so the ring start. Typically, I've been testing it out. Oh, shit, oops. I've been testing it out, and I think Hecate is quite nice to get first item even before the boots. Maybe with the nerfs, it's not quite as valuable to rush this item. Maybe it's just worse. But you do as you see fit. Lifesteal boots, of course, to synergize with the passive and all the lifesteal that you're going to get. Finish up that Hecate. From here on out, I usually go Hasten because Freya just has so much rundown potential with this item. Then we go into the Demonic Grip, followed by a Telkines, followed by typically a Typhons. Typhons has been nerfed, and the synergy between these two items has been nerfed, but it's still a really nice item. It's got the percent pen, synergizes well with Freya's passive, and it's just an item that you like. You have on this god. This is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a full 6-item build. Typically from here, what you can sell your boots for, you can go a Rod, you can go Poly, you can go Magus, you can go another lifesteal item if they don't have any anti-heal. You can go a defense item. You can go literally anything, kinda. You can go Shard if you feel like you need the pen. I've gone Shard quite a few times on Freya. You can go Toxic Blade if you need the anti-heal. So yeah. That item is very, very, very flexible. Do as you see fit. Maybe you're getting Devo out, you need some Fist Prot or Discord, get a Discord. Maybe you need more lifesteal. You can go for a Bancrofts or like a Soul Gem. Soul Gem's probably not great. Maybe a Pythax or something. Maybe they're really, really, really tanky and you're like, dang, I'm not hitting hard. You can go for a Shard or a Karen's Coin. It's up to you. This is my Freya build. I wouldn't recommend building this exact build on the other magical ADCs, and I'll explain why in a second. But these 3 items together just slam so hard, especially with a god that has a slow. It can kind of just 4-shot people and run them down really hard. So, yeah, this is my Freya build. I've seen a lot of other people do it. It's pretty much just all the rings and the Typhons, and it's very powerful. Yeah, we're back. The recording must have cut out. I'm actually going to turn off the stupid noise that this guy makes. It's actually just really annoying, so just going to put this down to 0. Oleron is what we have left. We're actually just going over the main ADCs. Just finished up with Freya in that last part. Now we have Oleron. Oleron is an interesting one because you do want to opt for the tiny trinket start. A lot of people are rushing the Hecate, myself included before, but through trial and error and practice, I've realized that this build does feel a little bit better. Your level 1 through 5 just feel better, get the early lifesteal as well. And what's really, really, really nice about this is after you finish your lifesteal boots and you get tier 2 Hecate, you actually already activate Oleron's passive, which is great. Because obviously the earlier you're critting, the better. From here, you're going to want to finish off the tier 2 ring, go into the Hecate. The tiny trinket will usually become, it was becoming a Typhons before, but I do think Bancrofts might just be better now with all the Typhons nerfs. I'm going to play with it. I'll figure it out a little bit more. This item's been nerfed a lot, but I'm not sure if it's not worth getting at all. So you do you figure it out for yourself as well. You know, don't just listen to me, figure it out. Try both, try what feels better, see what you like. But yeah, typically the old build was Typhons for the tiny trinket. You can go Bancrofts, either work. From here, you pretty much just finish off with all the rings. I usually go Demonic if they're very tanky, Telkines if they're not. And then you build whatever you didn't build. And then here you can go a Shard, or a Rod, or a Spear of Magus. I usually don't go this item, but a Toxic Blade, a Discord. Oleron is one of those gods that gets dove quite a lot, so going for an early defense item isn't even that bad a decision. For instance, if they have like a double or triple hard dive comp, you can really get an early mantle and it can throw them off. But it just depends. These are, you know, these builds, they're very flexible. They change very, very often, and it's just comp dependent. If you're not getting dove at all, just go for more power. It'll help you carry. If you're getting dove super duper hard, you might want to get a Discord, get a Magi's, get a something along the lines to help you live. Because if you're dead, it doesn't matter how much power / damage you do because you're not doing any of that while you're watching your teammates. So this is the build for Oleron. Like I said, do start the tiny trinket. It will help you out in the long run. Even though it might feel a little weird branching into the ring before finishing your starter item. But like I said, with the tier 2 ring and the tier 1 trinket, you do activate that passive, which is quite nice because your 1 starts to crit on waves and whatnot, and it feels great. So that is the Oleron build, and then we have the last two mages, which I will show. The build is quite obviously the same. It's kind of a universal build. You can opt for the Tiny Trinket on Soul as well. It probably does feel quite nice with her early passive. Getting that. Is the Tiny Trinket power more than the level 1 ring power? I think it is, right? So it's 20 to 25. It's actually less. You just get lifesteal. Yeah, I've been doing either or. You can go Tiny Trinket. You can go straight to the Hecate. It's up to you. We'll do the Tiny Trinket build because it seems like it might just be better. So you do the same thing. You pretty much just go the same thing as Oleron. You go Boots, Hecate, finish up the Typhons. You can go Hasten Ring on Soul. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, but it does kind of help her run people down. I think I'm going to use Bancross on Soul, maybe Typhons. It depends. Like I said, this item is kind of up to you. You got to just play a little bit more and figure it out. And then you pretty much just go all the rings and a shard. All the rings and a shard, and you'll be feeling pretty damn good. Valkynes into a shard, and then this is typically the build. This is the mage auto attack build. You can build this on Kronos. You can build this on any mage that is a real auto attacker, except for Freya. Freya is pretty much the only one that really wants to rush the rings. The other three can just go this build quite comfortably and kind of farm. Kronos can do it. Oleron can do it. Soul can do it. They all do it fairly well. And yeah, this is kind of the end of the guide. Like I said, if you have some defensive items that you need, feel free to buy them. And if not, then feel free to go more damage and kind of try to pop off even more. But yeah, this will wrap up the how to build your ADCs guide. This is the new patch. I don't remember what number it is, but this is the Typhon's nerf patch, the Hecate nerf, the Mage nerf, the bonus patch. It was like bonus patch something, just happened on the 25th. So yeah, sorry about the cut in the recording. A little bit annoying, I know, but it's okay. If you did enjoy this video of how to build your ADCs and why you build them and when you build them, make sure to leave a comment down below. Tell me what you want to see next. I'm thinking about doing a how-to ADC guide versus like just gotta think about how to do it. Like maybe I just get video clips of me playing and then voice over and just show you what I'm doing. Maybe I go into spectator and do the overhead view and show my positioning and team fights and whatnot. We'll see. I'll try and figure that out. Also, let me know what guide, let me know what guide you want next down in the comment section below and what other videos you would like to see. If you did enjoy all this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you very much for sticking with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. As always, stay beautiful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay yourselves, and until the next video, I'm out. Peace.